All right, let's dive right into a fascinating scientific detective story. It comes from a 2008 study that uncovered this kind of hidden trap in our diets, a trap that could be setting us up for failure long before we even see a problem.
And it all boils down to this one question. Can the diet you're on for months secretly rewire your body, making you way more likely to gain weight from a totally different diet later on? Let's find out.
Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle begins with a pretty simple experiment. Researchers basically wanted to see what happens when you feed rats a diet that is just packed with fructose for a really, really long time.
The setup was super straightforward. They had two groups of rats. One group got a normal, standard rat diet. The other group, though, got a diet where a whopping 60% of their calories came from fructose. And they didn't just do this for a week. They kept it going for 6 long months, which, is a huge chunk of a rat's life.
So, after half a year chowing down on this super sugary diet, what would you expect? You'd think the fructose-fed rats would be bigger, fatter, right? I mean, that's the obvious answer. But as you're about to see, science had a little twist in store.
So here's the first shocker. After 6 months, the fructose-fed rats, they weren't heavier. In fact, their weight gain was basically identical to the rats on the normal diet.
And it wasn't just weight either. We're talking total body fat, also the same. No difference. And here's the real head-scratcher. They weren't even eating more food. So if you just looked at them from the outside, you'd think this extreme fructose diet did, well, nothing.
This is where the mystery really deepens. If the rats look the same, they weigh the same, they eat the same, does that mean the fructose was harmless? Or was there something invisible, something sinister happening deep inside their bodies?
The researchers, they suspected something was up. They had a hunch that the problem wasn't on the outside, but was a silent malfunction happening under the hood, and their investigation turned to a really crucial hormone that controls our hunger.
And that hormone's name is leptin. Now, the easiest way to think about leptin is as your body's natural "I'm full" signal. Your fat cells release it, it travels up to your brain, and it basically knocks on the door and says, "Hey, we're good down here, you can stop eating now." It is an absolutely critical system for keeping your weight stable.
So the researchers came up with this brilliant test. They decided to inject both groups of rats with a dose of leptin. Now, if their brains were working right, this powerful "I'm full" message should make them eat less. Simple as that.
And here it is. This is the smoking gun. The control rats, the ones on the normal diet, they responded perfectly. After the leptin shot, they ate about 21% less food. Their brains got the message. But the fructose-fed rats? Nothing. Absolutely no change. They completely ignored the signal. Their brains were deaf to the message.
This condition has a name. It's called leptin resistance. It is literally like having a smoke alarm that's blaring at full volume, but you've lost the ability to hear it. The "I'm full" signal is being sent, loud and clear, but the brain just isn't getting the message. The body's most important defense against overeating had been quietly taken offline.
And what's so wild is that this leptin resistance was pretty much the only hidden change. I mean, look at their other blood work. Fasting glucose, cholesterol, even their normal leptin levels were all the same. The only other red flag was a big jump in their triglycerides, which are fats in the blood. But otherwise, this damage was completely invisible.
So let's just recap. The fructose diet didn't make the rats fat, it just secretly broke their appetite control system. This led the scientists to the final and most important question. What happens now if you take these vulnerable leptin-resistant rats and expose them to a completely new challenge?
So to find out, they sprung the trap. They took some rats from the control group and some from the fructose group and put them all on a high-fat diet, just for 2 weeks. This was the moment of truth that would reveal whether all that silent damage actually mattered.
And this is the jaw-dropping result. On the exact same high-fat diet, the rats that had been primed with fructose gained way more weight. We're talking over 65% more weight gain than the control rats. The silent damage was suddenly very, very loud. The trap worked, and it led to supercharged obesity.
So what in the world does this all mean? Let's take a step back and connect the dots, because this experiment uncovered a really stealthy pathway to weight gain.
Here's how the chain reaction works. First, a long-term, high-fructose diet comes along. It doesn't make you fat. Not yet, but what it does do is quietly cause leptin resistance. Next, with that system broken, your body is now primed, it's vulnerable.
And then, when a high-fat diet comes into the picture, boom, the trap is sprung, and it triggers rapid, almost uncontrollable weight gain.
And this is probably the most important takeaway of the whole thing. The fructose, in this experiment, wasn't the direct cause of the obesity. Its role was so much more insidious. It acted like a saboteur, sneaking in and disabling the body's most critical defenses, leaving it completely exposed to a future attack from a different kind of diet.
And you don't have to take my word for it. The researchers themselves said it best. They wrote that the harmful effects of eating fructose long-term develop long before any visible signs show up. The damage is done way before you'd ever notice it on the bathroom scale or in a standard blood test.
And that really leaves us with a huge, lingering question. This study uncovered one of these hidden traps. It just makes you wonder, what other silent changes are our modern diets causing inside our bodies right now, setting the stage for problems we won't be able to see until it's already too late?